Hi everyone, it's James here from TSR Jivey Talks Tech. Now, for those of you who don't know, I mean, quite frankly, how could you avoid it? I have been known to play a bit of drums. And for the last probably 15 years, I've been on a quest. Not an exhaustive quest, but I have been on a quest to find the ultimate drum overhead mic. And I've been through probably 15, 20 different microphones in my time, large diaphragm, small diaphragm, trading off between the two, swapping backwards and forwards. It's been a bit of a mission. And then the good people at JZ Microphones reached out and said, do you fancy trying the JZ BH202 on drum overheads? And I went, sounds like a challenge coming on. So I've had a dive into the deepest, darkest corners of the mic locker and pulled out 6 small diaphragm pencil condenser microphones that work really well for drum overheads. And we're going to do a bit of a shootout. Now, there's no real price factor here. Some of these microphones are more competitively priced than others. Some of them are relatively inexpensive. That's not the point. These are mics that are in my collection that I own personally, and I just want to hear the difference that changing the microphone, the 2 overhead mics, can make. And from initial testing and sort of listening to the early results, it's quite shocking, the difference. Shocking in a good way, not shocking in a bad way, but definitely there is a difference. And these 2 mics make a heck of a difference to the overall tone of the drum kit. So just to go over the controls, the mics will be the same distance. They will be equidistant from the snare drum. All the mics in question feature a cardioid pickup pattern. Some of them have interchangeable capsules, but I'm using the cardioid capsule for these tests. So they're all the same distance. The gain will be the same. I'm not tweaking the gain. So if a microphone is louder, it will just be louder. Some might say that's not fair, but hey, it's an inherent feature of the mic that some are louder than others. Now, theoretically, a small diaphragm condenser is a small diaphragm condenser is a small diaphragm condenser, but I think you'll be really surprised with the differences. So, what mics am I using? Well, I'm starting with this one. This is a Vanguard V1. Again, they all follow the same sort of small diaphragm pencil condenser form factor. Lovely solid mic, sounds really good. Number 2, the Sontronics STC-1S. Again, where the mics have any kind of switching or pads or anything like that, these are all off. I want to get the full range of the microphone with no pads or anything like that. I'm not that loud a player that we have to worry about padding the overhead mics down or anything like that. Again, this one and the Vanguard both have interchangeable capsules. Again, just to confirm, we are using the cardioid capsule. We then have, I think, the most inexpensive of the range. This is the Lewitt LCT 140 Air. I was amazed when I tried these back in Production Expert days. These sound incredible. Let's see how they compare these days. We then have the JZ BT202. The most distinctive design of all of them. I love the kind of tapered neck, really, really cool. Some might say that affects the way the polar pattern reacts. I have no sort of scientific knowledge on such things. Again, a nice sort of push around 7K, we know that from previous videos, but I'm really excited to hear these on overheads. Then, my only mics were real provenance. These are Shure KSM-137s. These were actually with 9-inch nails. These, I think, were their tour mics for drum overheads. They've seen some action, they've seen some love, but they still work beautifully. I normally use these for my X-Hat and for my ride mic. Really great little mic. Now, the wild card. A little while ago, Slate introduced the ML2 small diaphragm condenser. Now, the Slate mic is what's referred to as a modelling microphone, meaning you can impart the tonal character of other mics onto its recordings. So I thought I'd throw that into the mix as well. As a microphone in its own right, it sounds great, but it might be interesting to try some models and see if we can affect the tone that way, see what works out. The ML2s have a normal or dynamic setting on the back. Will be in normal, and I'll only be using models that are small diaphragm pencil condensers. I'm not going to try and make this sound like a 67 or an 87 or anything like that. So let's dive into some testing. You'll hear different versions of each playback. You'll hear just the overheads with kick drum, then a full kick mix, but I'll lead it from the text on the screen. You'll know exactly what you're listening for from the text on the screen. I'll also put the pricing of each of the pairs of microphones on the screen as well, so you get an idea of where we are in the kind of price spectrum. None of these mics are super expensive, but none of them are super cheap either. So we're in that kind of middle ground ballpark, but it's certainly an interesting test. So the real question is, which do you prefer? Jury's out for me, I have to admit. I think it would very much depend on the style of music I was recording, how I was playing, how heavy or how light I was playing. That track's, it's a rock track, so it's quite, you know, the cymbals are very full and washy and there's lots going on. I'm really surprised with how much I like the STC-1S. It's got a really nice sizzle to it. It's very, I won't say thin sounding, but you get lots of lovely top end. The Lewitt, the STC-140 Air, again, lots of lovely top end. I haven't put any of the filters in or anything like that, or the air sound, which has got a nice little push in the top end. That mic sounded great. I really like the BT202. It's a very full sound. That little 7K push is really nice. I think it's the fullest of all of the microphones. Maybe the tapered neck, tapered shaft does make a difference to the polar pickup pattern. I think the stereo image from all of the mics is great. I do have my overheads quite wide. I think it worked out they're 142 centimeters from the snare drum. One of the benefits of this new space is I can get my overheads up much higher and much wider. So that's definitely a benefit. But the real question is, which do you prefer? It's really tricky. I like the 202s, I like the Sontronics. Not such a fan of the Shures. They were a bit dull in my opinion. And obviously the modeling nature of the ML2 meant we could impart, you know, other small diaphragm condenser tone onto the sound of this one, which is really, really cool. But the real question is, which do you prefer? I'd love to hear down in the comments, down there, which ones were your favourites and why, actually, because that's almost as important. We all have a favourite, but it's knowing which one we like and why. And as always, please do like, subscribe and hit that bell to be kept up to date with all things TSR JTT. But for now, my name's James Ivey from TSR Jivey Talks Tech, and I'll see you again very soon.